Welcome to Think Tech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Duke Oishi.
And I'm Elisa Onishi, not to be confused with Duke Oishi.
In our show tonight, we'll cover the groundbreaking of the Kawailoa wind farm, which is being built by First Wind near Haleiwa.
This will be the biggest wind farm yet, and its groundbreaking signifies that renewables are alive and well and moving ahead on Oahu.
The Kawailoa wind farm is in a spectacular location near Haleiwa. Here's some of the footage we took looking down toward the ocean.
The dedication, hosted by Keikoa Kaluhiva of First Wind, was a who's who of energy in Hawaii, and the remarks made by the notables who spoke were optimistic and encouraging, starting with those of Senator Daniel Akaka and Lieutenant Governor Brian Schatz.
My name is Keikoa Kaluhiva, and I serve as Director of External Affairs for the primary owner of this project to be, called First Wind. I would like to actually start our ceremony today with a short oli in recognition of those who have come before us.
Thank you very much for being here and and congratulations to everyone who had a role in bringing forth this Kawailoa wind project.
Today we celebrate an important milestone towards energy independence. Kawailoa will be the largest wind facility in the state of Hawaii and will help Oahu meet its energy needs from renewable sources on the island of Oahu. We know that our survival depends on indigenous energy. That's why Hawaii is so committed with the most aggressive clean energy goals, 70% by the year 2030. It's going to take the full range of technologies to reach our goals: geothermal, solar, biofuels, wave, OTEC, and wind, which is an already important and growing part of our portfolio of renewable energy sources. As an island people, we have long understood that we have to work together if we are going to achieve any success.
Last year, $5.09 billion we spent importing 46.3 million barrels of oil. Doesn't make any sense. Not when you have world-class wind, world-class sun, geothermal, wave energy, ocean thermal, it's all built in here. And this is an integral part of keeping some of that money here in Hawaii. Be it resolved by the 26th Legislature of the State of Hawaii, regular session of 2012, that this body hereby congratulates and commends Kawailoa Wind on this momentous occasion.
We are seeing the future basically unfold before our very eyes. This gigantic operation, this gigantic opportunity, this wonderful occurrence is going to bring us exactly what we need.
For those of you who have seen our wind farm just up the street here at Kahuku, that to me was a great example of bringing together the community, the private sector, and the government, and that's absolutely the case here with Kawailoa Wind. It doesn't matter what's happening in the oil markets. This project is going to put out a predictable price of energy for consumers over the next 20 years.
As I been looking at that ocean out there and drove by it and heard some of that surf this morning, I was reminded of Hi'iaki Kapoliopeli's arduous journey through the Ko'olau. And after her tangles with Kamapua'a on the other side, she came to this land and was struck by this land and chanted something like, "O Waiaulu, O Waialua Kaileo Nui, Ualono Kauka o Lihui, E Ke Wā La Wahiawa E, Kulivale Vale Ikaleo, He Leo no Ke Kai E." And it was a reminder that our ancestors are ever present. And when we hear the winds, when we hear the surf, they're here too. And so we bid aloha, aloha to our kupuna. This land has a legacy. It has a lineage. It didn't just get here today. And we honor all those who made that lineage possible and who passed it now to us. In Arohana of Kamehameha, from Namahana to Ka'ahumanu, from Kina'u to Kamamalu, to Kekuanoa, to Lota Kapuaiwa, to Ke'elikolani, to Pawahi, and now to us. And we honor this lineage, and we respect all the work that those Konehiki did in years before us. This land has a history, and it has a history of utilization. It produced those things that made an industry for us. It produced sandalwood, it produced sugar. And the thing we look at today as they were may have been the right things for the time, but not sustainable. And that's why they're no longer here. And so if we make our elections and decisions as land managers today, our thought process goes to what will sustain us once again and into the future, not just for today. And we're pleased to say this land has a future. And we're proud that part of that future are these 30 turbines, these 69 megawatts of wind that will power 14,000 homes. And join our Pakininui wind farm that's 14 megawatts, and be really 1/3 of all the wind that's being generated in Hawaii is coming off of Kamehameha lands.
And I wanted to start with a quote from Mark Twain, the great American philosopher, who said, "In the real world, the right thing never happens in the right place in the right time." I beg to differ. About a year ago, many of us were at Kahuku for another dedication. And 2011 turned out to be a record year for clean energy in Hawaii. Now we're here together today to again celebrate another First Wind project, the largest wind farm in Hawaii, and one which really represents the community and the continuing partnership of all the people I mentioned with First Wind and the Hawaiian Electric Company. And with oil at more than $130 a barrel as we buy it today, it is the right project at the right time. Senator Akaka mentioned the number of endangered species in Hawaii, and our goal at Hawaiian Electric is to make one more thing endangered or extinct, and that is the use of fossil fuels in electric generation. We want it to be gone from Hawaii.
On behalf of the Public Utilities Commission, and especially Commissioner John Cole and Michael Champley, thank you for including the PUC in today's ceremony. And I just wanted to acknowledge former Commissioner Carlito Calabozo, because he was instrumental in a lot of the foundational pieces of regulation in opening up the opportunities for renewable energy in Hawaii. So it was almost 1 year ago I had the privilege of attending the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Kahuku Wind Project. And again, I want to say mahalo to the North Shore community for making Hawaii's clean energy future a kako thing and a reality.
On behalf of the North Shore Chamber of Commerce and its 250 members, we welcome you and say aloha to Oahu's North Shore. And we feel that this is our bit of heaven, at least on Oahu. So, as you all know, the North Shore community and the North Shore Chamber of Commerce really want to keep the country country. I'm sure you've all heard that, and it's almost becoming hackneyed. But the only way to keep the beautiful North Shore agrarian and with its open spaces and its beauty is through agriculture and keeping agriculture viable. What we need is the political will to do that. We also need the land, the water, and the farmers to do that. So we look forward to continuing our very positive relationship with First Wind and having them as a valued community member.
I was the development manager for the Kahuku project and now for Kawailoa. One of the things that has made me proud to do what I do and to work for First Wind is probably 5 years ago when Paul brought me on. He said, look, I said, the people on Molokai, you might not want a wind farm. Paul said, if they don't want it, we won't build it. I promise. And he's kept that promise, and that's been the case in every community where we've worked. If the community doesn't want it, First Wind won't do it. And we believe that. And in Kahuku, there was a lot of support for the project. Here, on this side of the North Shore, also, there's been a lot of support. And it's been really a positive experience. If the community didn't want it, we wouldn't be doing it. But to make a project like this work, as you've heard before, it takes a lot of things. You need to find not only a community supports it, but a landowner who is willing to dedicate, put a lot of land toward an energy project and not turn it into homes or resorts. So we found that in Kamehameha schools. You also need to have a utility that is willing to make changes to make renewable energy happen. We've worked with HECO for many years, and there's many a meeting in a room full of engineers when you say, well, we need to do this, and they're like, oh, okay. Everything we ask them to do is different, and at every project, we have to get together and be creative to make it work. And it's really gratifying to work with them, and we're glad that we're such a good partner, and we hope that HECO remembers that in the upcoming RFP for new renewable energy projects. That's what we call a non-price factor in reviewing bids. We also need to have, it's important to have leadership, political and administrative, to help projects get through, get support, get permitted. We have to satisfy, for this project, I think it was about 102 different permits or permit conditions that we had to satisfy. You need to have folks in government that are willing to make that happen. Now, as part of the ceremony, you generally invite representatives from government to come to groundbreaking, grab the koa'o'o, and stick it in, take a picture. That's very important to acknowledge their commitment and make sure everyone is pa'a with the project you're doing. We've had these o'os produced from sort of repurposed koa, not big sticks, but sort of small pieces of koa put together to make the nice o'o. They're really cool. So I would say to our elected leaders, after our experience at Kahuku, don't cockroach the o'o after you pao. We did a tour, and there was folks from Kahuku Medical Center were there. And one of the ladies was looking at me like, kind of like stink eye after I was talking. And she goes, so, who was responsible for this? And she's kind of big, right? So I took a step back. Who was responsible for this? Who made this wind farm? Because I work at the med center. My office looks right at your turbines every day. I look out my window right at these turbines. Who did this? It's too late to back out, right? I'm leading the tour. So I said, I was the developer. I guess me. She goes, I love it. Every day I look out here, work makes me all wild. I look out the window, calms me down. So good what you guys did.
After the speeches were made, the VIPs picked up their o'os and turned the earth to commemorate the initiation of a great new project for renewables in Oahu and in Hawaii.
And someday, someone will talk about this event, maybe 50 years from now, and there will be a picture they will look at, and they will say, I remember when. So today, we honor our past, but we want to be a part of someone else's past, and that is today our future. So we ask your blessings now upon all the equipment that will be brought here, into the aina, into the land, and again, all the hands that will make success of this project. We pule this with much aloha, Keakua, that we will take our kuleana seriously. Keakua, that we will take care of our ohana with love. And again, that we will show malamapono to one another.
It was a great ceremony. It honored the Hawaiian spirit of the land, and it really talked about the sustainability and the future reduction in oil usage that this project can bring to everybody on Oahu.
Well, I think as we sit here and stand in a place where we can see those sets of waves come in, I see it as those sets of, it starts with small waves, and it gets bigger and bigger and grander and more powerful. And the wave of awareness of the need to be sustainable, awareness of the need to work as a community, as a whole, one community to kind of accomplish things, I think is increasing. And when we see its force and its impact and benefit, I think it just encourages us to do it more and more.
And I'm glad that, First One was able to do what they did with the community out here and get the buy-in. I think that was really fundamental.
Right project, right place, right time. This is real infrastructure in the ground, and 69 megawatts really gets us a long way towards our renewable portfolio goals.
I'm excited. I was at a energy conference at the East West Center a couple of years ago and talked to a couple national energy experts, and they said if there's any place on the planet that can become energy self-sufficient, it's this place right here.
Historically very important. It's not just the biggest wind farm on Oahu, but it's the biggest wind farm that the state of Hawaii has ever seen. So it's major progress as a statistical matter, but it's also progress for our community. The North Shore community really got behind this. Kamehameha Schools, First Wind, our federal government, our state officials. So everybody understands that we've got to move forward together on clean energy and that it will benefit everybody.
Yeah, well, what happened here today was a really significant step towards building a clean energy future in Hawaii. This is the largest wind farm project in the state, and it really represents a major step. We all know what a detriment oil is to our economy. So the more projects we have like this, the more clean energy we can integrate into our system, we're that much further along to reducing the impact that oil has on our customers.
We've heard the speeches this morning about the importance of community involvement and laying the foundation for it. And yeah, the good developers will go out there and work with the community. It was a year ago when we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for Kahuku, and I was thinking, it's like, once a year isn't enough. We need every couple of months. Not an either or thing, especially with wind, that you can have compatible agriculture on the same property.
This is the future right now happening. There's so many initiatives that we got right now that involve renewable energy that we're following up on, and this is a gigantic effort here. This represents what our future ought to look like.
Well, I think it's fantastic, a big step forward for the state, and obviously the 2030 goals are very aggressive. I'm going to take a lot more hard work, but I'm personally excited to be here trying to see what we can bring, the U.S. Department of Energy. And certainly we're looking to Hawaii as an example that we want to learn from and take lessons learned to other states.
Well, I'm elated. We've been planning this event for a while now. The weather's cooperated. We have representatives from the community, from our legislature, regulatory officials, a nice mix of folks all focused on the same goal.
Some people there said this was the most important groundbreaking we've had so far, and that the more dedications we have and the more frequently they come, the better for renewable energy in Hawaii.
Indeed. Clean energy development seems to be speeding up, and the level of cooperation seems to be quickening too. Just as it was impressive to see the players come together at the dedication of the 4-city PV project in Kapolei a few weeks ago, seeing Kamehameha Schools, HECO, First Wind, and the Haleiwa Community Association come together at Kawailoa was a great sign of cooperation and progress. We look forward to much more of the same. Now for our Think Tech calendar of events going forward.
Think Tech's 4 to 5 p.m. weekday drive time radio series on KGU 760 AM continues this week, covering business, Asia, technology for sure, energy, the arts, including music, and government. Tune in to 760 AM every weekday at 4 p.m. and raise your awareness on Think Tech Radio.
On March 22nd, the Hawaii Venture Capital Association and Think Tech will present a luncheon panel program called Renaissance in Kaka'ako. A look at all the projects and prospects, large and small, coming up in Kaka'ako these days. Sign up for these programs on hvca.org. And now for Bill Spencer, here's Jay Fidel with this week's Spensation.
Aloha, this is Jay Fidel. I'm standing in for Bill Spencer this week and delivering his Spensation. Kaka'ako is a special place for all of us. It's, in a sense, the heart of the city. So the question is it going to be downtown east or Condo Canyon? What's going to happen? Kaka'ako is a huge, underdeveloped part of the city, but it's the only place where our downtown can grow. Now a patchwork of old warehouses, Quonset huts, car lots, and a few high-rises, Kaka'ako is destined for a complete remake. If rail continues on its current course, the rail line will cut through Kaka'ako along Halakawila Street on its way to Ala Moana Shopping Center. It'll cut Kaka'ako in half. A new 65-story condo commercial complex is out to bid. While Kamehameha Schools, Alexander and Baldwin, and Howard Hughes Corporation own much of the land in Kaka'ako, the Hawaii Community Development Authority, HCDA, has control over that land and how it will be developed. Will Kaka'ako become a thriving live, work, learn, and play community? Will it gentrify with open space and local values? Or will it become a condo canyon with expensive condos? Is there still room to include a biomedical research campus around the medical school? What will the future bring for Kaka'ako? Find out about Kaka'ako and its future at the next Hawaii Venture Capital Association Think Tech Luncheon on March 22nd at the Plaza Club, 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Enjoy a blue ribbon panel discussion, incisive Q&A, good food, great people, and as always, first-class networking experience for everyone. Register today. Many thanks to our sponsors, Hawaii Business Magazine, and the accounting firm of KMH LLP.
And here's our co-working entrepreneurs, Rachung Fujihira and Tony Stanford, to keep us current on their latest adventures at the Box Jelly.
We had a few groups, one of which, Code for America, has come in. We talked about last week. We had Tim O'Reilly and Jennifer Palka come in. Tim O'Reilly, of course, is from O'Reilly Media. They do a lot of really intense books about different aspects of coding and whatnot. And Jennifer Palka is the founder and ED of Code for America. So we had the fellows in. We showed them a good time. Went to the North Shore last weekend. And yesterday was their last night, so they're flying out today. It's kind of sad, but in a way it shows us the maybe a Hawaii advantage of being able to take care of our customers in ways that they wouldn't be able to if they were in San Francisco. Code for America, so what they do is they advocate open government, and they advocate by actually going out and doing things. So what they do is they kind of implant these fellows in different cities, and they go and they kind of look at places that can be more transparent, or places where they can get information and bring it out and develop platforms that other people can build upon.
For an end user, someone that like I'm just living in the state, I would probably be able to know. I could have an app that tells me exactly what color trash can I need to put out, and if I missed the garbage truck or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if I missed that bus, or anything in between those lines.
Yeah, very good way to say it. We had another customer come in last week, and he was there was a duo, and they had a Kickstarter company that made tea. And they came in from LA, and they were referred to us by a customer that we had that came from the Philippines the month before. So it's kind of interesting to see someone who came from the Philippines for the month refer someone from California for the week. And we were able to use our connections to make their life a little bit easier in a few ways. And we're going to be doing that with other customers. And we also had a German customer come in this past week. And he taught me a few things about, iMovie, and we had a presentation where he came and gave a talk about how he makes his money, which is all through passive income on the internet. So that was a pretty fascinating talk. And we just released our newest newsletter last night. And what we did is we kind of looked at I kept the text to a minimum because less text, less chance for mistakes, easier to correct. And we used a lot of big pictures, so it's something that we thought we would want to read.
I want to read it. I would imagine everyone else would want to read it.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun, a little bit playful. It's also an initiative on our new branding piece. Going into next week, we're switching gears into funding mode. We're gearing up for our new space, so we're going to both be looking for bank loans and possibly outside investment, depending on who the person is and if we have a synergy. And so we're putting together our slide decks, and Tony's been taking care of the books.
Yes, working on the books, as I've mentioned a few times, is that I am not a bookkeeper or an accountant by any means, but I am getting my experience under my belt about learning the ways of QuickBooks and being able to surround myself with the right people. So we're finally being able to get that all aligned and moved ahead for next week, so we can get the right projections for the investors and get all the right numbers to cut through all the red tape with the banks, because we're going after an SBA loan.
So as always, we're a place to work,
place to meet,
a place to build,
work the way you live.
theboxjelly.com.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of Think Tech, but first we want to thank our underwriters.
Thanks to the Schuyler Family Foundation, which supports a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including ThinkTech.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Miko on Maui and Helco on the Big Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company, and CEO of CBI Polymers, a tech company in Hawaii.
Don't forget ThinkTech. Please help us out by making a contribution on thinktechhawaii.com. It'll help us with all the things we do to raise public awareness about tech, energy, diversification, and globalism in Hawaii. Thank you very much.
Okay, Elisa. That wraps up this week's edition of Think Tech. Remember, you can watch Think Tech on OC16 several times every week. Can't get enough of it, just like Elisa does. For additional times, check out oc16.tv.
You bet, Duke. For lots more Think Tech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on Think Tech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a sponsor or a volunteer and help us reach Hawaii.
I'm Duke Oishi. Thanks for joining us on Think Tech. Aloha, everyone.
I'm Elisa Onishi. See you next time.